Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mel K Show. I'm super excited to have one of my heroes here today. You might not know him, but most people do. So I'm going to let him introduce himself. He's the great David Rodriguez, and he's going to tell you a little about himself. Welcome.
Well, thanks, Mel. Yeah, no, I always, I have to introduce myself as I wish we could have the ring announcer to introduce. No, but
That would be good.
no, I was a ex heavyweight champion boxer, top 10 in the world, top prospect in the world for quite a while, 36-0, 34 knockouts. At the end of my career, I was 37-2, 35 knockouts. Really, a really emotional roller coaster of a ride in my boxing career. Uh, had two near-death experiences. Actually, I did flatline twice, and I was brought back with a defibrillator when I overdosed, and then I got my neck split open, sliced open on an attack of my life when I was walking out of a bar, and that was both of those events happened in 2011. It changed my life. Went back into boxing. Wasn't prepared mentally. Lost. I lost. I just wasn't the same guy. I didn't go see a sports therapist, or I didn't take care of myself the way I should. I rushed getting back into the ring because that's just the type of guy I am, I guess. And backfired on me, and went through a state of severe depression for years, and was an alcoholic. I had many vices. And now I'm a year and a few months sober, and
That's so awesome. Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. Just trying
Yeah.
to live a better life.
And how are you doing that? Because I was in the program at one time in my life and found a lot of good people in there and stuff. Are you doing it that way? Are you going to meetings, or are you doing it on your own? How are you doing that?
People hold me accountable. I publicly stated that I'm sober, so I knew that if I go anywhere, I'm going to look like an asshole if I start drinking. Like, so it's kind of like
It's a good way. It's a good way
I
to
knew
do
that
it.
was the only way to do it. So,
Right.
I can't. I got to practice what I preach. So the people are holding me accountable. So
Right.
I decided to state it publicly and just go for broke.
Right.
It's
And do
kind
you
of
find
crazy, but
that God is helping you? Or
absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely. I feel like I before I quit, I was getting nudged, spiritually, probably 6 months before, that something was coming,
Right.
and I couldn't. And this was 2019,
Right.
so something kept urging me, like, stop drinking, stop drinking. You cannot be drinking for what's coming. I was like, no, what's coming? What's coming? I felt it, like it was so surreal, and that lasted about 6 months, and then in December 26, 2019, I was in a bar, and I was looking at my friends in the bar, and I was there, and I was just thinking to myself, man, I used to be the champ, and now here I am, the
Right.
washed up boxer in the bar. And I looked in the mirror, and I just saw myself, and I was like, I can't be this guy anymore. So I put the beer down, I put the drink down, and I walked out of the bar for good. And
Oh, that's so
like,
great. That's so inspiring to so many people. That's been a big issue of mine during the lockdowns. Is I in my heart when they first started and then they closed the schools and the churches, my heart broke for the 25 million people in this country that need AA and NA to stay sober, to keep them accountable, that don't have the public figure ability to be fully accountable unless they go out there every day. And I knew in the very beginning that the overdose and the relapse and the suicide rate would be sky high during this lockdown. And it really broke my heart. I know a lot of people who still go to meetings every day and have been sober for 10 years, 15
yeah,
years, and especially they shut all the meetings in Manhattan down, and then people said, oh, you can do them online. And I was like, yeah, for some people it ain't enough.
right.
They really need to be held accountable and interacting with the energy of other people. And I know for me, when I was in the program, that it was my fellowship and my friends. I was in a very small group, but and I actually, that was when I was in West Hollywood, of all places. But actually, they have a very robust community there for recovery, though people tend to go in and out a little more in Hollywood than, than most places. But no, I mean, I that's so amazing. I really, everyone has to find their own path. And, you know, most people that I talk to that have gotten sober have a similar story to feeling like it was God was telling them, you got to change your life. You got to change your life. And once he did, that made all the difference. So congratulations.
And not to mention, I know people are going to think this is kind of like X-Files, but to be honest with you, before that viral video happened, I will never forget. And this is going to sound nuts to a lot of people, but I don't care. It's just the truth.
It's okay.
I was seeing from January to February, the craziest UFO activity in New Mexico and then in my neighborhood.
Right.
Like, so it happened first in New Mexico when I was driving to Ruidoso. I saw these beautiful lights appear over my truck. Like they looked at about 10,000 feet. And then, and I just stopped. I pulled up my phone, tried to record them, and they kept disappearing. Like they knew I was recording. It was crazy. And they would form these awesome constellations and then disappear, and then form another one and disappear. And I had a witness next to me. Her name was Megan. She's like, I can't believe this. She's trying to get her phone out. She couldn't record it either. It was just interesting. It would just turn off.
Right.
Then I'm in my neighborhood probably about 2 weeks later, a little less than that. And I'm walking my dog, and then boom, there they are again. Wow. And then I was like, this is so, and I've never seen them again, but I found that fascinating. You know, I couldn't put it together in my mind. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Right.
But it's like a splinter in my mind. I just can't get rid of it. And I keep thinking, what was it? Something? Was it?
Right.
Did it mean something? Did it mean nothing at all? Just a little fun fact out there.
No, that's great. Because it's all connected, in my opinion. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, because I have an international audience that might not know, even though I think everyone on the planet probably saw it, can you tell us what viral video you're talking about, which made you a hero to millions of people on this planet?
Well, what was so crazy about it is it was just so nonchalant. Like I was just having coffee on a Facebook Live. Not having any ulterior motives, I did not want a viral video. I just was having a cup of coffee on my back porch. And the night before I spoke to a very good friend of mine who's an A-list actor. And we were talking about what I was saying in the video, which was about pedalwood and about the adrenochrome and the tunnels and what Trump was doing to take care of the problem, you know. Because people need to understand that these tunnels are elaborate and they go all over the planet. These are serious. They're deep underground bases, military bases, and you know it's a lot deeper than people think. And our reality is what's given to us on the surface here. There's a much more activity going down below us. Right. And I just stated it. I was just having a cup of coffee on my porch talking about it, and then I didn't think anything of it. I walked back inside, not a big deal. I looked later that night through my Facebook, and I'm like, wow, 15,000 views. That's weird. Usually just gets about 3,000. That's about it. And then I didn't think anything of it. And the next day I was at 50, 60, 70, 100, 200. And I was like, whoa. And then it was like 300,000. I took it off Facebook. I was like, no. Right. Taking this off. So I erased it. But it already was copied and shared.
Right.
And it just took off like a storm. And I was like, oh, man. So it was either I embrace it or run from it. And I really did think about running from it. I was like, okay, I did what I did. I hit the bee's nest with the stick and I walked away and forget it. I'm not going back to this. But people keep asking me, do you have any more information? Can you give us any more information about that? Like what else? That's it. What I did was what I did. And that is all I did, and there's nothing more I can give people about that topic. Cause it'd be weird if I knew more. I just don't know anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
It's weird. I knew I was coming on with you, and I was so proud to watch that video and see. I knew you didn't think that you could just tell that you were just kind of, it was just on your mind. It was, and
it's like, hey, by the way.
But and I have done a lot on it too. But last night, this is so sad, and it really happened. I was standing, we have to stay outside in New York because that makes sense. And I'm standing next to this man. I was waiting in line, and he got behind me, and he was very distraught. And I turned around, and he was, and And I said, are you okay? He goes, no. He goes, my building, they're running a child trafficking sex ring out of my building. This really happened to me last night. And I said, what? And he said, yeah. He goes, and he told me, and I said, where? And he told me, and right by the UN. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, these aren't women, these are children, and these people bought the building during COVID, and now there's all these little girls around, and they don't seem to have parents, they don't seem to speak English. And he's like, and I just went and I told the cops, and they said there's nothing they can do about it. And I thought, oh, are you kidding? And he said, yeah. And that's what Epstein had on 65th Street, was a building. And once he got the girls in, he took their, he was their only source of everything, and would take their IDs and everything so that they couldn't get out. And so this is going on, and it's rampant. And this guy he was an older man. He said he'd lived in the building a long time, new people bought it. And he said, and there's a sex ring running out of my building in Manhattan, and we have no cops right now. So, and he was walking back, and he stopped, he was waiting in line behind me, and he stopped because he was distraught. And I asked him, and I couldn't believe it because I've done so much work on it.
Yeah.
And so that's going on. It's much worse than people want to admit.
And now with Biden opening borders and doing all that, this is about to be a shit show people can't even imagine.
Right. So talk about that. You're down there at the border. You're already seeing it, right?
Oh yeah, I have a friend that goes and reports down there, and he's always asking me to tag along with him. But I'm like, his name's Anthony. I'll tell him, Anthony, I already know. Why do I want to go there and get in a bad mood?
I know.
I mean, go put it on Instagram and show everybody there's nothing that we have no solution for this right now. So I'm just going to go down there and be in a terrible mood seeing this.
Right.
And it's just like it's they're doing the catch and release, I guess, again.
I can't believe it.
And it's just like we're back to where we were with Obama. I mean, it's amazing. We make all this progress, and then now we're right back, and it makes me sick. And I see people all the time on Instagram, and Trump can run in 2024. I'm like, no, he can't. We handle this now, here, right now, or this is done. America's toast. We're done.
Agree. Yeah.
And it's pissing me off. Whatever this delay is, I'm getting very angry because I'm like, man, make a move. And now we're going into the impeachment, and I'm hearing that it could work for us.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm almost to the point now. I'm like, anything is better than where we're heading.
Right.
Even a civil war. Like, just go for it, dude. Trump, go. Right. Now's the time. Make the move. Because you wait too long, we're going to lose every opportunity, in my opinion.
Right.
I'm not a strategist in this, but I'm just saying that from what I'm seeing, the longer we wait, more false flags, more executive orders, more this, more that, and then we're going to be Venezuela in no time.
I agree. And that is really, it's the same people that did the overthrow in Venezuela that are overthrowing our country right now.
Right.
And what a lot of people aren't getting is that, and I get emails from everyone, but I started out a long time ago. I had written a screenplay about a woman that wrote a book called Origins of Totalitarianism and Eichmann in Jerusalem, The Banality of Evil. Hannah Arendt, and I really studied on this, and I studied it for 6 months. And to watch it happening in America so fast, and so with people so blind to it, and executive order after executive order are taking away our rights and our freedoms and our sovereignty. And the truth is that this was the UN's plan. It's the one world order. It's not a conspiracy theory. The Great Reset is what it's about, which is enslaving all of humanity except for these 3,000, elite billionaire banker cabal Luciferians. And our country, every day that goes, I say the same thing. I go there, we can't wait till 2022. We're not going to have to.
We can't wait another month.
I agree. And everything that's happening, and not just that, he's starting wars all over the world.
Yes,
apparently.
I think that's what he's here to do. I'm just wondering, what are you waiting for? I mean, I'm like, it doesn't matter the civil unrest and the backlash we get anymore. Just go, dude. Just go for it. We got your back.
Yeah.
These 68 million or whatever they said voted for Biden, which we know is about probably 30, they should never be allowed to vote again after this. I swear to God. Like,
and the worst. Sick. Yeah, the worst part is the biggest criminals in my mind right now are the mainstream media and all of these people that are totally lying to the public.
Right, and then they're being, and then this too. Mel, is like, I don't know anything. I don't know much about, and I'm gonna be honest, I don't know much about the whole that letter in the alphabet movement, right? That
Right.
17. I don't know much about. I've looked at some of the posts and comms, and I'm like, okay, interesting. Kind of had one foot in, one foot out, always. I had hopeful when I would see it. Sometimes I'd be okay, it's hopeful, but when you're told to trust the plan, and you're now here in this situation where Trump is out supposedly, and we got this clown in there, and he's signing one executive order after another, and you're still being told to trust the plan. I don't know. I'm having a serious. I have a problem with that, and
So do I.
and I just don't buy it anymore, to be honest. And there's a lot of people that are like, "Oh man, you're not a patriot." I'm like, "No, I am a patriot," but I look at my own research and I do my own, and I look at actions,
Right.
and I see what's going on. And yes, some of it does add up, but some
Right.
of it doesn't. Let's just
Right.
be honest.
Right.
And that's where I'm at with this. It's like, um, trust the plan, trust that we're in control. Well, it doesn't really look like we're in control. And every day you're being told, oh, well, they got to expose this, they got to expose that. Okay, how much do they have to expose?
Right.
Because until our country's completely raped and pillaged and done with, and then
Right.
oh, they still got to expose more. Well, they got to show you. You got to. I mean, no, I'm not buying that.
Right.
At this
Right.
point. Now
Right.
I have patience, and I had a discussion with Joaquin Flores about it. That things need to start happening, because things need to start happening mid-February, at least for me. Otherwise, I can't believe in any of that, because it's February. What it's the 9th. The boat needs to start turning around soon, like
Yeah.
ASAP. And I said that I put out that video about his executive orders coming into play February, which they are, and freezing of assets, finances, all that kind of stuff. We'll start seeing more and more people step down, but you got to remember, we are fighting a giant, a deep
Yep.
state. They've been controlled forever. But if this is going to happen, it has to happen soon. It has to happen within the next few weeks, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I just don't see any other way. I mean, otherwise, so I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but it doesn't look good.
No, I feel the same way. I have to tell you, I have been somewhat distraught because like I said, with every executive order, I'm seeing him put not just our country, but the world, the entire world in danger. And he is working for the central banking cabal. He's not working for we the people. He's working against humanity. I'm not sure who he is, first of all. And because he's being controlled by some.
Oh, he looks like an AI clone. He doesn't even look human, dude. Like if you see what they can do with CGI and masks and everything, he's not Biden. I don't think even Biden's around. I think this guy's just an AI human clone.
Right.
I really believe that the more I look into this.
Right. And the worst that it gets is like our history has been so skewed that people don't realize that, again, the central bank is controlling everything. Obviously, they're out of it's not a conspiracy theory. They don't deny it. All you have to do is look into the UN or the World Economic Forum or Agenda 2030 or any of this crazy stuff. The Great Reset, the Fourth Industrial Revolution. The goal is to enslave humanity into 10 nation states that are run by this cabal out of Kazakhstan or wherever they're building their one world order headquarters. And A, it can't happen. B, I am watching foreign leaders have it. Like Putin has had it. He is watching this man dismantle. First of all, I believe Putin's involved with Trump in the entire breakdown of the human trafficking ring and drug trafficking, organ trafficking that's been going on for 3.5 years behind the scenes, which I do believe was happening. But now you're watching Biden put in things to reverse it. Because even what's happening in Myanmar, we're not getting the real story. That's the hugest child trafficking hub in the country, in the world. And it goes right from China all the way, all through the Caribbean where Epstein and Haiti, and they set up the whole ring there, all the way to the Long Beach port that Trump shut down. And now we're seeing that. We just saw there's now unrest in Haiti. There's unrest in Somalia, all connected to this trafficking ring. And so what I'm seeing is all the work that Trump did on that
is being reversed.
Right. And it's way bigger than.
And that is why I'm saying we don't have time to wait.
We don't.
I'm not going to sit around and go, oh, just trust the plan. Fuck that.
Right.
That's out the window now with me. I'm like, something needs to happen. I'm sorry. But And that's and however however it was created, this, whatever you want to call it, the real movement, the plan, the psyop, whatever it was, you know, it seems to me that it's this illusion that people have cast onto Trump, whether he knew or didn't know. It's like, it's almost making this man into a god, which he's just a man.
He's not, yeah,
Just a
and he
man.
knows that. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's just a man. And that's our fault, or everyone's fault, for putting this hype onto him.
Right.
And these expectations.
Right.
So that's nobody's fault but our own.
Right.
If really, if we fell into that, it's like a cult mentality. That's why I always stayed 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
I just, my thing is this, and this is all I'm going to say about that. We have got to see something happen this month, because this is getting out of hand, and we will be Venezuela, like in no time flat.
It's the plan. It's their plan.
Yeah.
And and also
the longer this takes.
Yeah. And that's the scary part. I see. We don't even know. We don't have a gauge for how many American people are getting this, because the media won't report any of it, and they report the opposite. I'm doing a show later about all the accomplishments Trump did make in child trafficking and sex trafficking and human trafficking, which are amazing and very. We saw it week after week, arrest after arrest after arrest of trafficking rings, child trafficking, sex trafficking, months and months of it, over and over and over. And it was Trump and his team that were behind that, and all of that. And then I went to do some research, and I see Snopes, PolitiFacts, Media Matters, CFR, all of them saying that debunking it, that Trump's done nothing about human trafficking, that Trump's done, that it's gotten worse under him. Oh, really? And I'm watching that, and I'm thinking, God, we don't even know who's with us. There's no concept. And because of the lockdowns and the pandemic and the mess and the social distancing and the isolation, people can't even talk to one another.
No.
And that's why when we go on and do this, as much as we get attacked or whatever, it's like, it's all most people have right now.
Yeah.
And,
some people have, you're right. And this is an assault on humanity.
Yeah.
They are moving towards a prison planet. We already are in a prison planet, to be honest with you. We already are there. But now it's going to be to where it's just intolerable. Like you're just going to be born into slavery. Complete utter slavery, where they just own everything you do, just like they do on the surface, will be the same as the tunnels, where children are born into darkness and used as a commodity to other, and I'm being serious about this, other entities, other beings that are using us to harvest us. Basically, they use us that's the trafficking going on at the highest level.
I know.
And it'll be the same on the surface, and we're on our way. And for people who don't believe this, you're already sliding into it. We're already here. What is going to wake you up?
Right.
Because we're here already. This is it. This is the big game. We're not scrimmaging to prepare for it. We're already, every day that goes by, every day that Biden's in there, it's click, click, click closer to our destruction with this piece of shit that's in office right now.
Right. And the worst part.
And that's why I'm wondering what are we going to do?
Right.
Yeah.
That's the worst part, is that also because we don't know our history, and we don't know history around the world. Like I said, people are sending me emails from Poland, Hungary, China, Iran, being like, what is wrong with the American people?
Like,
why
we're
don't
asleep.
they see what's
Everyone's
happening?
Asleep. I have neighbors that are Biden supporters, and they have Biden signs and streamers out with Biden's, and I can't take it, Mel. It makes me, I look at them like, this isn't Dallas Cowboys versus the Steelers or something. This is our lives on the line, and you're an idiot.
Right.
You're a moron. I have no respect for your IQ or your spiritual awareness at all. You are what's holding down humanity.
Right.
And now I'm at the point where I'm mad about it. I go into a store, someone with a mask comes up to me. Oh, sir. The other day this happened. This is a true story. I'm in the grocery store, and this guy comes up to me, and he's like, "Sir, your mask, sir. Your mask. You're not wearing your mask." And I'm like ignoring him, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm picturing things in my mind.
You're 6'5" boxer.
Yeah, and they still do it. Believe me. So I look at him, And I looked at him dead because now he's invading my personal space, my peace of mind. And I speak out on bullying. So now, yeah, I'm a 6'5" boxer, but this is bullying. This is harassment. So I look at him and I looked at him dead in the eyes like a shark, and I just dropped my dog food on the floor and I go, pick it up. And he looked at me and I go, pick it up. And I didn't move my eyes from his eyes, and he just looked at me and I go, pick it up. And he went down and picked it up and gave it to me, and I go, get the fuck out of here. And I don't take that, and Mel, and I'm usually not that way, but you're gonna mess with me.
You were doing to him what he did to you.
Exactly. That's how I looked at it. And then I'll continue to be that way. Don't bother me.
Right. Well, that's what should have happened the whole time. If we were honoring our Bill of Rights and our Declaration of Independence and our Constitution, our government was supposed to tell us the risks, and we, the people, were supposed to make the choices. They weren't supposed. You're not supposed to lock up healthy people. And then we find out, as we knew all along, because Trump mentioned it 10 months ago, and finally the AMA and the CDC come out and say that hydroxychloroquine not only works but prevents it. And then Facebook has to reverse their whole thing, and all their fact checkers are out of the CCP, by the way. Yeah. And so now we know that there was a giant crime against humanity by holding back hydroxychloroquine from the masses. And who said that it worked in the 80s? Dr. Fauci. And so you have to know that this is part of the plan, the Great Reset.
Yeah, but the biggest part of this plan, the biggest component that people are not aware of is not just not just the MSM lying to you, it's our school systems, their indoctrination camps. That's what they have turned into.
Right.
And what the main objective in all this is to kill, and this is true, to kill the white male, to kill him off, because he is a threat to that establishment.
Yeah.
For whatever reasons. So they're now, what they're doing is gender fluidity, the chemicals in the food, emasculating the male, making it so he's not competitive in anything anymore. Transgender, that's all a huge agenda.
Yes.
Yes,
and people think it's about equality. Well, I'll tell you what I think about diversity. I think diversity gives America flavor, but it's what we have in common. It's what we, I've been saying, it's what we have. It's life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness, the love of God, the love of freedom, the love of country. It's what we have in common as Americans, which is why at the, first of all, the day before the Super Bowl, the USA Today wrote a whole article about how Tom Brady, one of the greatest athletes ever and a really good guy, only because he's probably friends with Trump and admitted to voting for him, USA Today put out a whole op-ed about how dare he, as a sports figure, not want to denounce Donald Trump, and that he is the prime example of white privilege. An athlete that raised to this level, a whole article about how Tom Brady is the example of white privilege and what's wrong with America. Then you get the article coming out after that it's a shame that a white quarterback won during Black History Month. Yeah. It's just, you can't even make it up. No. And then the commercial.
This is psychological warfare and spiritual warfare, informational. We're on all fronts. This is World War III. This is it. We are in it. This is not tanks and bombs. This is for the control of humanity.
Right.
All of it. This is for all the marbles. And people that are like, I can't wait till we go back to normal. It ain't gonna. We're not going back to normal. Either choose to fight, or just honestly perish, because that's where we're headed. Either you fight or perish.
Yeah, and
I can't believe we're like some of the only personalities out here doing this. I mean, yeah, there's alternative personalities, okay, but they're not putting their ass on the line.
Right.
They're just reporting what the mainstream doesn't report, and they stay kind of neutral. I can't stand them, and I can name them, but I'm not going to. But
no, I'm the same. That's why when we finally connected, because I've been trying for a long time, but it's just both of our lives took off so fast.
Yeah.
But no, because you talk the same language as me, which is very real, and we've both been through a life because of my 15 years in Hollywood and some of my ups and downs and yours, and the rise and the fall and the rock bottom and the building yourself back up. A lot of this stuff has given us both the strength to say, well, we can handle it. I can handle it. I used to not be able to, but after my demise, like you said, when you went back in the ring and you weren't prepared, you just rushed back in. You know,
Yeah,
I have a similar story to that in my life where I hit rock bottom and it was as bad as it gets, homeless, suicidal, the whole deal. But had I not gone through that, I wouldn't be able to do this because the
exactly.
attacks and all
It
that.
toughened your character.
Yeah. And also, I know I've been as close to this close to suicide. And you know what? I am the exact opposite now. And whatever they do to me, I know I'll be fine and
Yeah,
I'll get through it. And I have God on my side. And I do this for God because I believe this is good and evil as you do. And the only thing that ever came from communism and socialism is 100 million innocent deaths.
right.
And that is the truth.
And that's their objective. They want to depopulate this planet to what, 500 million, 800 million max.
Right.
This is a sinister plot, and they feel entitled to do this.
Yes.
They don't care about any. I don't understand what people don't, where their malfunction is. They don't care about you. The government does not care about you.
Right.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
look
I
at the
think,
religious establishments are involved. The Vatican. I mean, look at the powers that are
yeah,
all in on this. That are all into the child sex trafficking. That are into this monstrous agenda to kill off humanity.
right.
They hate us.
Bill Gates doesn't even hide it. That's the
No.
he doesn't hide it. And that people are trusted. First of all, people don't know that the CDC is a private corporation, private charity, like they all are, just like the Fed is private. It doesn't work for the people. It's a foreign
No.
entity that we pay our tax dollars to. They also own the IRS. People don't do their own research. The other day on my show, I read this part of the Declaration of Independence that Jefferson wrote, and it blatantly said that when the government turns despotic and is no longer working for the people and is no longer doing their job, which is to protect the independence of each individual's life, property, and security, then we the people have the right, and we the people have to stand up, and we the people are entitled to abolish it and to
Right, but how many
redesign
people
it.
now are sedentary and
I know,
lazy and lethargic and complacent?
I know.
80, 90%. People just want to watch it happen on TV and get on the computer. I mean, it's just that's where we're at, and that's what they're waited for, and that's they're striking now because the complacency of they've conditioned this complacency into us.
Right. And
And
yeah, well, that's their thing. These Luciferian, Canaanite sociopaths, worse than that. That's their thing. What they needed us to do was to be so demoralized, so depressed, so sick mentally. This has been the mental health aspect of this, of what they've done in this world is the worst in my mind of crimes against humanity. But what they needed was for us to be so desperate, so demoralized, so just decimated that we would welcome in the UN and we would welcome in the Great Reset and we would welcome that in. That's part of their plan. And the craziest part about these lunatics, just like in Hollywood for the last 15 years, there hasn't been any art. There's been all propaganda. If you're not making propaganda and you're not going out there and selling it on the late night shows for them, you're not going to work.
right.
And and so what's really now is, yeah, if you and I, that's why every day I get up, I'm sure you get up some days and you're like, oh, I just can't do it anymore.
No, I just because we see what it is. It's like we've lifted the veil.
Right.
A lot of people still have that veil over their eyes. I see what's going on, and it makes me it makes me sick, makes me disgusted, especially when I see somebody pushing a baby stroller down the street with a mask on their face or double masking it. I'm like, you are the product of communism. You've submitted yourself.
Right.
That's it. You're done.
Yeah.
Like you've given up already, and you're the same. And then what about these people bragging about getting the vaccination?
Oh my God.
I can't wait to get it. I mean, it
breaks my heart, and you can't talk people out of it. You can't. They're buying it, and this is, again, the media is guilty of a crime against humanity by pushing this fear porn. When now we're finding out the PCR tests, as you and I knew for a year, are fake. They're false positives.
False positives. You can test a goat, a dog, a fruit, a table, and they all come positive.
Right, and the guy who created it said it, and then it was so easily manipulated. Just not unlike the Dominion software is so easy. It's made to be manipulated. The PCR test made to be manipulated. What these governors did in putting these sick people into elderly homes was premeditated murder, in my opinion. They needed numbers. They needed numbers to ensure the lockdown. Once they locked us down, they set their demons that they had already prepared from Antifa and Black Lives Matter to destroy our will in our country. I mean, everywhere.
And they're getting a Nobel Peace Prize.
Right. See that? You got to.
This is psychological, man. This is sickening. And they probably feel they deserve it.
Right.
It's so twisted that we're in this, I really believe we're in this fork in the road of two timelines. And right now, we're going down the wrong way. Right. I mean, and I just, this is something that I've been, I was always that crazy guy. I was awake for, after 9/11 happened, I've been awake since, 2003, 2004, researching everything, knowing that this was coming, knowing that the next false flag was on its way.
Me too.
And this is it. And more's coming, and it's going to happen faster.
And there's so mmany people that don't even believe in false flags and don't realize that all this happened. And the other thing that's very scary and people need to wake up to is that the Rumsfeld, Bush, Cheney, they're war criminals, okay? And he's bringing all them back in. He's bringing in the Council of Foreign Relations, who works for the one world government and the UN, back in, and he's bringing in big tech CEOs into our White House. I do believe that the Corporation of the United States of America, which is DC, is defunct, and he is the president of a defunct corporation. But it doesn't really matter if the public doesn't get it.
Right? They don't know, but that's why I'm saying. And Charlie Ward talks about the Nasara Jasara. Hey, man. Like I said earlier in the show, we got to fucking move if that's the case. Well, if that's the case, we got to move. Yeah. We got to move now. There's no. Yeah. I mean, I hate that this interview turned into more doom and gloom, but frustrating. But
it's not doom and gloom.
It just is where it is.
How are you going to get information out? The information is ugly. I'm sorry, it is. The information is ugly. You and I believe in God. We have faith. We're going out there trying to wake people up. That is what we're doing right now, because it is getting scary and people aren't paying attention to how communism works, and that we are walking like the Rockefeller plan, which was called Project Lockstep. Anyone can look it up from 2010. It was their walking humanity into their one world order to enslave us, as they have with debt slavery since they invaded our country and the Federal Reserve started and the Bank of and the City of London and the Vatican took over our country right before our eyes. And people don't do their own research and they choose not to believe it. And that's going to be to their own peril. But like you said, we don't know how many people get it. We don't know, because we're not allowed to communicate. And God forbid you do, you're going to get censored or kicked off of Twitter. I questioned the election. I get kicked off of Twitter. Well, didn't they question the election for 4 years through a Russian witch hunt, saying that Trump colluded with Russia to win the election? He won. And meanwhile, she cheated with Dominion, Hillary, and just didn't cheat big enough. This time they went crazy. And it's so obvious. Now, the good things that I'll tell you that I think are coming for real are they have met a lot, and I'm telling you for sure, of evidence that thing that happened on the 6th of January was a planned event they have the evidence. Schumer, Pelosi, and McConnell knew about it 4 days before. Trump offered 100,000 people, including Secret Service, military, cops from all over the country, to come help. Nancy Pelosi turned it down. So that.
But this should be revealed in the impeachment, correct?
It's going to be. It's going to be.
Right, and that's why I heard. 107 told me that this is going to work for us, not against us.
Right, and it's true. And because I gotta dump.
So this really could be the beginning of the tide turning.
That's why I think after this, I expect we will finally hear from Donald Trump. Donald Trump's silence has been deafening to them. Okay,
right.
That's what this is about. You can't impeach a private citizen.
No, you can't. You're right.
But do they know that he's the president? And is that why they're pulling this off? And Trump's sitting in the back and letting it happen. Let me tell you something from what I know about him. And, I worked in his house and I watched how he behaves and how he acts. I'm very intuitive to that. He's doing the art of war right now. I fully believe that. It's look weakest when you're strongest. And he's out there golfing. He's not worried. He didn't commit a crime. This riot, first of all, now they've broken it down. There were only 200 people that were there. And they have that John Sullivan, who's a real demon, who already was arrested with Antifa twice in other cities during last summer. They have a video of him not only handing out MAGA hats and outfits and stuff.
John Sullivan, was he the one? Which one was he?
He's Insurrection Now. He's the one that conveniently happened to be on camera and filming when Ashley Babbitt, which we know nothing about, was shot. Yet
Right.
we know
Oh,
nothing.
that's right. That's right.
They're not charging anyone. I was in TV production for 20 years. It looked like a production to me.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
when did her funeral happen? Where is she? And the other four, they all were, it was natural causes, a heart attack. The cop that they so disgustingly put on repose had his dead body there, and Biden and all them went up and did a thing. No. That cop died of a blood clot. There was no blunt force trauma. The whole story is a lie. But what they also have is they do have those laptops, and Pelosi and them all knew about it prior. And on top, even bigger than
Well,
that.
that's what, the special ops went in there and took the
Right,
computers. They got it all. That's how this is all going to
right.
come to light during this impeachment. So it begs the question, did Trump walk them right into this on purpose for this moment to show the evidence in the impeachment, and then boom, then the boomerang comes the other way.
Right. Well, that's my take on it. And, I feel your frustration. For 4 days, I was so mad. What I was mad about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hide my feelings well.
No, me neither. But what I was mad about, and I'm just happy hearing you talk about it, because anyone that's telling the truth these days is a hero to me. But I'll tell you, I was like that too, and it was really for the same reason you were. I was in tears watching these executive orders and thinking, oh my God, why? How is this happening? How is this happening? Why don't people get it? And and also, the other part is they have evidence that the Capitol Police and other people that were dressed as security, they have more than 3 videos I've seen so far of them letting people in and walking.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw those videos.
So there's just
I had friends that went from El Paso that invited me to go to Washington, D.C. I'm so happy I didn't go now. Believe me.
I know.
I'm so happy I didn't go. But they I guess one person that I know went, and he says, yeah, they were just letting people in. So we just walked in, and people were taking pictures like if it was a tourist thing, like taking pictures of the Capitol, walking around, and then just walking out. He was like, it was no big deal. But the FBI started questioning him.
Right.
And I was like,
wow.
My
God, they knocked on a friend of mine's door that was an Airbnb in DC the week after. The FBI is against us. They're all against us. They're all working for the New World Order. They're all compromised. This whole campaign against Trump from the very beginning has been about their crimes, not about if they could get Trump on anything, they would have. And they couldn't. And the military knew they couldn't. And listen, there's 2 factions of the military too, which we also have to keep in mind. There is the military industrial complex, the what I consider everyone that was involved in Iraq and Iran and Libya and Syria. These are war criminals, and some of them have been put to death already, I'm pretty sure, but we will find out. I don't like to talk about anything I can't absolutely prove. But again, Wesley Clark, who everyone called a kook, General Wesley Clark, came out right after 9/11 and said he went downstairs at the Pentagon and they said, we're going into Iraq. And he was like, why? Why would we go?
Yeah, I remember.
Why would we go into Iraq? Everyone should look up that Wesley Clark explaining what happened in Iraq. And they said, honestly, it was about the central banks, just like it is right now. They don't want to give up the Fed. They don't want to. And that is why they're destroying America, because they want to keep us in debt slavery. This is not part of their plan. And that's the thing that is really the biggest thing here is it's about greed. It's about money. It's about their laundering and their child trafficking and their adrenochrome trafficking and all of this. And, I do believe Trump knows everything. I really do. And I know it's been hard to watch. And I'm sure that he got
do you think those letters at the funeral were that exactly stating that he knew everything, that I told them everything? Like,
for sure. Crazy.
And then what about what, and it wasn't a surprise to me, but could you imagine Trump having to have that pedophile Pence around for 4 years, knowing that he's a piece of shit?
No.
And just knowing he's going to betray you? Because I know that I really feel in order to smoke all of them out, Pence had to play that role.
So
and I think, and I really believe he was in some kind of plea deal to do what he did.
He's not the only one. I believe also that Lindsey Graham is in one, because he can't get away with the crimes he was involved with John McCain. There's no way.
Right. Lindsey Graham's
and people just need to do their research about it.
People are so putrid. They're just so vile, asinine.
A lot of those people in the White House, he kept them there to let them commit
Right.
crimes. Because don't forget, people don't know that Obama gave secret pardons on his way out that weren't publicized to a lot of these criminals. Obama is to me one of the worst. And
But he is the absolute, well, I don't know if anybody beats Hillary, but
yeah, no, Hillary's the worst.
Hillary's the worst. Yeah. I mean, she's
No, honestly, the worst one of all time to me was George H.W. Bush.
right.
He was the
Right.
first Nazi. They finally got in there on their 100-year plan to take over
Right.
America.
You could just look into the grandfather who was Prescott
Yeah,
and his affiliation with the Nazi party, and you figure it all out from there. You
yeah.
know, the apple doesn't fall
Operation
far from the
Paperclip.
tree.
Right. I
Right.
always say
Exactly.
the Nazis didn't fall. They just came here and rebranded
Right. They just migrated over here.
the
And
UN.
Argentina, in all of Argentina, all
Right.
South America, they took over all this area. Yeah.
Exactly. And it just people don't know their history, and they're so
Their true history. They're given what they're taught in schools, which is why I say it's an indoctrination camp.
Right.
You're not learning true history.
No.
Math is about the only thing that's universal that you're learning that's to be
Right. Well, they're going to get rid of that because,
yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Because that's racist, and
Right, right. Yeah. You got to do the Common Core stuff and you got to like show. Yeah. I got you. That's all the
which
part
is
of the
also
conditioning.
Bill Gates.
Right. Yeah. And so I have friends that go to, my buddy John in Austin just told me, he said that he's like, man, my kid was this, conservative, good kid. He goes to UT Texas, comes back a diehard liberal and a Bernie supporter and hates Trump.
Yeah.
They do their jobs
Once
there,
you
man.
get
That's what they
there, you know how impressionable kids are at that age. I'm so grateful. I went to college before this. It was started when I was in school, but it really, what's happened to our universities? There's really very little point to go. You really have to be careful where you send your kids. Even worse.
Yeah.
Is their whole remote learning thing and these demonic unions that are backed by Soros, by the way, a lot of them.
Right.
They don't want to go back to in-person teaching and all that. Well, there was a push about 15 years ago to hire justice warriors, not teachers. And, through these different community organizations, which, that's Obama's big thing. He started with the Weather Underground, who they're filled with glee right now. One of the Weather Underground women that got a pardon from Obama is running Black Lives Matter. So, it's just, if people knew history, then it would make a difference. But I do believe, people are upset about General Flynn on Doug Billings' show. General Flynn did not say anything except for that the Insurrection Act wasn't called. As I've said many, many, many times, once DNI Ratcliffe proved foreign interference and that executive order was triggered, there was no reason for the Insurrection Act. There was no reason.
Correct. You're right about that.
And God willing, my feeling is what should have happened by all the research I do, which is a lot, is that order, when it was violated, Trump should have given it, which I believe is what happened. We do not know. I cannot say for sure. Don't attack me.
Nobody knows.
Feelings.
Nobody knows for sure.
I believe that he handed that over to the Pentagon, and at that point, they triggered a DEFCON situation. FEMA is the one who takes over in that case. FEMA has no and General Flynn didn't say anything about FEMA. He didn't say anything like that, and he told Doug Billings not to pay his bet to his friend that Biden was the president. Quite
right. He said, "Don't give him the bottle of wine." Right. So that to me, and it's a little. You got to look at the little things because really, people, especially all the Trump supporters, are really anything for hope. They're grabbing onto anything. They're grasping for straws right now. No. So that's why what you're doing, what I'm doing, Charlie, everybody who's giving even a little hope with the information that we get is monumental. It's huge right now.
Right.
That's and we're and we are here for a reason, Mel. I'm telling you, this is our purpose. Yeah, this is our purpose.
I can't. Right. And that's like you said, you went through all that. And let me tell you, I'm here, but for the grace of God. And I know you feel the same way.
100%. I should be dead.
Me too.
You don't understand. I flatlined, Mel. I was gone. I was on the other side.
I know about your stabbing. And, it's like, I feel like this is a calling from God. And every time I want to quit, that's why I always say about Trump. Yeah, like you said, Trump's just a man. Trump is also working for God. Okay. I know that that's who he is. And all these hateful, horrible people that have painted a picture of somebody that doesn't exist, a boogeyman, when this guy gave up everything. And I'll tell you something, I heard that there were really horrible, really valid threats on his family's life, that if he didn't get out of there, that they were going to be from the inside, probably attacked. And one thing I know about Donald Trump is he would give up every cent he ever made to protect that family, and I saw them in action. These are good people. And this was not about anything that they're saying. This was about, he saw what we see. He saw it, but they fought him every step of the way. And he wants to stay by law and order. He wants things to play out that way because that's the way that he feels like he can reestablish. And honestly, DC's over, and we are going to have to do what Thomas Jefferson told us we would have to do, which is we, the people, have to take back and recreate our government from the ground up. And like you said, and like I've been saying, this requires us to stop being on the hamster wheel and start looking, because the indoctrination in schools is horrible. Well, you know what I started doing? Who's on the school board in New York City teaching these kids this and telling like white kids that they're the problem on online school in front of everyone, having to do assignments on like their history and why their whiteness is a problem. They're doing this
Disgusting.
In New York City. And here's the thing. When you look at who's on the school board and the city council and all this, you scratch down a little bit and you're going to find all these people are backed by the Open Society or Bloomberg or one of these New World Order people that want to divide and conquer. And they're doing it. They're indoctrinating our kids. And a lot of this remote learning, don't forget, is also taking our children's data and starting files. And they have this whole predictive programming. So people need to wake up, but it's the people that need to wake up. Look who's on, like, people don't want to do, I don't want to go home at the end of the day and go like to a school board meeting or a city council meeting or any of that. Plus they made doing your civic duty a blood sport. God forbid you run against one of these candidates that are backed by them. They're going to destroy your life. So, it's just, everyone's got to put on, their armor of God and their bravery. And
that's where we're at now.
Out there.
And I tell people all the time, I tell them this, I say, listen, I may not get some things right. I didn't go to school for journalism, but I'll tell you what I am. I'm a fighter.
Journalism.
And that's more honest.
Morons that did go to school for journalism.
Yeah, and I have friends that work for MSM, okay? That they're like, hey, Biden won. I told you that was going to happen. I'm like, you're sick.
Me too.
You're fucking sick.
Me too.
You have no idea what's really going on, and you're mind controlled, and they're in DC.
I know. But listen, they're in on it. They're in on it. They're in on it. Don't think they don't know. Deep down in their hearts, either they have no soul and no God, or they're in on it. And that's the two choices. And because I have the same thing with Hollywood. I mean, I still had a lot of friends.
They're too scared to make a stand, Mel. They don't want to lose their job. They don't want to lose their peers, their friends. They don't want to be looked at differently. So they go along with it. But deep down, it has to be corroding their soul.
It is. It is. That's why I tell you. Suicide will be the biggest outcome, the biggest death toll for this whole COVID thing. People are going to go down, and some of them won't have the strength to ever admit that they were a part of it. And that's their choice they made. They've made a deal with the devil, and they're playing the devil's game. And guess what? God wins, and that I know. So I would hold out hope for the impeachment to be a boomerang. Then we have the Epstein boomerang coming in soon, thank God. And, let's hold out hope. I would like to do something with you once a week, at least until
absolutely,
until the Great Awakening shines through, because you and I are on the same page. We don't
100%.
BS, and we love our country, and we're seeing what's happening, and we're not scared.
Do you live in New York or LA?
Yeah, New York.
Oh God.
I know. Get into that.
Oh, good luck to you.
You have no idea. And the only
my sister lives in New Jersey.
Oh,
she was in New York, and she but she's moving to Arizona. They're moving in March. They're out of this. Thank God her husband got a job transfer going to Arizona. They're like out of there. So happy.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly stayed here kind of on purpose to watch the demise, because I'm on the front lines watching what's happening. And like I told you yesterday, that guy came up to me and was like, they're running a child trafficking ring out of my apartment building on 46th Street. And I'm like, what? And then I'm like, of course they are. So, I'm watching. Also, don't forget, they closed Broadway. They closed all production. These people, where are they going to work? It's just all the comedy clubs, all the live music venues.
They're killing our human interaction,
right?
Our humanity. That's the objective
and our culture,
here.
Our culture, what makes
our culture, everything that makes us human.
I know.
It makes us different. It makes us unique. They're killing it.
Well, it's been an awesome pleasure, and we believe God wins. Don't get us wrong. But we really want the people to just do their own research. Wake up, stop being scared, speak out. It's the people that sit there and don't speak out that are the real problem. Honestly, it's the ones who know. And a lot of people didn't vote at all. Well, the people that didn't vote at all better check themselves and get back in the game, because this is
Well, we need to fix the voting system right now.
right.
We're
That's
not going to have another election again.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
is not, this is rigged. We
Right.
have to fix it now. It happens now. There is no tomorrow. It's now.
Right. And you're right. And I believe that's going to happen. And I couldn't love you more. You're such a hero. And we're going to do this next week. And I am so grateful for you to come on my show. And everyone loves you always because you're so cute. And,
Thanks, Mel.
and very, very smart, knowledgeable, and you're a real hero in every way. You know, you thought you were a champion and a hero when you were a heavyweight boxer, but you know what? You're a bigger hero now.
Thanks, Mel. I appreciate it. And so are you. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me. And I'm going to put this on Nino's Corner too.
Oh yeah, I'm coming on anytime. We
Yeah.
got a big future ahead. Wait for the Great Awakening. It's all going to start for us.
Absolutely. Thanks,
Okay.
Mel.
Love you. Take care.
I love you. Bye.